Let's be honest, this game didn't really need to exist at all. So the only reason this game exists is because in Kingdom Hearts 2, which we'll get to that in time, you start a game as a character named Roxas, which turns out to be a very important character, not only the story of Kingdom Hearts 2, but the series as a whole. And people didn't really get enough of Roxas for two reasons. It's very vague in Kingdom Hearts 2, and somehow, even though it's very vague and you don't really get to know him at all, he became a fan favorite character. So this spin-off game was made, and yes, I did just call this a spin-off game. I don't tend to call Kingdom Hearts games spin-off games. Even Unchained Key, not really a spin-off game because it's got really important information pertaining to Kingdom Hearts 3 possibly and what's going to come in the future. This game, however, has nothing. Nothing new, nothing you need to know. Almost. You see, most of this game is about the friendship between Roxas and Axel, something that was only told to you in Kingdom Hearts 2 and is now being shown to you in a very, very long and tedious and slow game. But one thing they didn't mention in Kingdom Hearts 2 is there's a third friend in this group. Because Nomura has something with trios, I don't know why, but we need a third one and preferably a girl, so here is Xion, the 14th member of Organization 13. In this video I'm not going to follow my usual structure of video because usually I would go chronologically with the game. Now I'm just going to ramble a little bit about the game because I'm going to be frank with you, I didn't actually play through the entire game for this video, I just recorded the HD cutscenes. This game is so bad, I didn't even want to play through it. And when I say bad, I don't mean like it's the worst of the best, it's the worst Kingdom Hearts game. It definitely is the worst Kingdom Hearts game. But something like the worst Final Fantasy game is still a pretty good game. I mean, Final Fantasy, okay, I'm going to offend some people here, 11 or 13, both of them don't really like them, but they're still good games. This actually is a bad game. Anyway, Xion is something really, really complicated. It's a replica. Remember the replica Riku from Chain of Memories? This is sort of like the prototype of that. They wanted to recreate Sora, but couldn't quite get it right, so it's pretty much a faceless puppet. Well, not quite faceless. You see, physically she might not have a face, and it's not even physically a she, neither is it a he, I guess. Anyway, Xion takes up the appearance of someone related to Sora, and that's all based on like the heart within the person looking at Xion. For instance, Roxas has a part of Sora's heart in him, so he sees Xion as some kind of black-haired Kairi, which that's a great design, and I guess you need a design for a character to make it work. But then later on in the game, Xion is facing Xigbar, another member of the organization, and it appears like Roxas with some kind of weird clothing. This is going to be important later on, and this is just a foreshadowing to a later game in the series. It's just confusing, and again, there's no reason for this game to exist other than the fact that Xion exists. And this game knows that, because at the end of the game they kill off Xion, and since she was a puppet made up of Sora's memories and they go back into Sora, everybody actually forgets that she ever existed when she fades away. So there's no trace of her left anymore, so this could have been a spin-off game. Leave it to Nomura to bring her back a couple of games down the line because people loved her. It makes no sense, but we'll get to that when we get to that in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. That game is a way bigger clusterfuck than this. So there's no reason to play this for the story because it's just character development without plot development. And the gameplay itself is actually very bad as well. It tries to imitate something in between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 and fails in both regards because this game is slow and tedious and repetitive and boring, and the whole game is based on these missions. You're part of the organization, you go out every single day, doing a mission, coming back, eating sea salt ice cream with Roxas, Axel, well I guess you're Roxas, with Axel and Xion. These missions mainly consist of either doing recon in a new world, which is very boring, just examining things. That's the end of your mission. Collecting hearts, which is just killing Heartless. Sometimes you'll have to beat a boss fight, which is just a bigger Heartless. You can see with the huge amount of missions available in this game, that gets repetitive really, really quickly. One thing I will commend this game for though is its leveling up system. It's not just a level up where your stats go up, no. Your level up system, as well as your magic, your abilities, and even your keyblades are placed on this grid. And some things have just one spot, some things have a kind of shape, almost making this Tetris-like, and you have to place them on there so you can actually de-level your character. If you decide, well, I want to have this keyblade equipped, but I don't have any space for it, I could take off a level because this keyblade is so much more powerful. That is something viable that you actually could do if you wanted to. Usually a level up is more important than a keyblade upgrade, but you get the point here. It's an option, and sometimes maybe taking off a blizzard spell, which blizzard spells in this game are very bad, so why have you equipped them in the first place? Or maybe a fire spell, which are actually pretty good in this game. You might want to take them off to replace them for an ability or a keyblade. That in theory is very good, but then you get into the mission and you have to defeat the Heartless, and the combat is really slow and tedious and repetitive, not satisfying, and just not fun. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 1 wasn't that fast as it was, it's pretty slow, and they were trying to figure out what the basis of the series was going to be. That still is better, and you probably, if you followed me for an extended period of time, know that I don't like the combat system in Kingdom Hearts 1 very much. This is a million times worse. Kingdom Hearts 1 is just not as enjoyable as Kingdom Hearts 2. This, in 358 Days Over 2, is actually bad. This game sets up a couple of things based on Kingdom Hearts 2, like everybody in your main cast being nobodies, but not having emotions. The problem with that is, these are your main characters, so they need some kind of emotional motivation to grow as characters and make decisions, but they're nobodies, so they can't feel. Well, Roxas learns about emotions through watching actual somebodies, like Beast in Beast Castle with his love thing with Belle. He finds out what love is, and there's a contradiction there within storytelling and actual plot elements. And then later in Dream Drop Distance, again, that's a clusterfuck of a game that gets retcons and it all doesn't make any sense. This game, if it didn't ever exist, would have actually benefited the Kingdom Hearts series. It would have possibly even made Dream Drop Distance a little bit less of a convoluted, annoyingly bad story. And as if that's not all bad enough, we know that Riku and Roxas had a battle because of Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, you guys don't know that yet because I haven't done a video on it, but you're supposed to play this after Kingdom Hearts 2, but chronologically it comes before Kingdom Hearts 2, so you know Riku plays some kind of role, and of course he does get inserted into this game, but in a way where you just can feel it is fan service. Because you can't have him interact with too many actual characters other than maybe Diz, and even that doesn't make a lot of sense within the context of Kingdom Hearts 2. And maybe Naminé, because Naminé never really talks about useful things. And then of course Shion, so 90% of the time he's talking to Shion and Naminé, and I think he talks to Diz like once in the entire game. And it's so painfully obvious that he's inserted in this for fan service and not for plot relevance whatsoever. So, I don't like this game. You've picked up on that very quickly, didn't you? I will tell you a couple of things that I do like about this game though. The final boss is a really amazing one. It is a multi-stage fight against Shion, and especially in the last stage she is gigantic, and some really atmospheric sad music plays. Usually in a boss fight you would have some very high energy bombastic music playing, making it epic, but no, this fight actually plays fairly emotional music, making you feel, actually, I am fighting my best friend and I'm probably gonna murder her, which ends up happening in one of the saddest scenes in the entire Kingdom Hearts series. Shion dies, returning her memories and her being to Sora. More or less. And there's one line in this scene where a lot of people just, I think, don't understand the meaning. When Shion is fading away, Roxas asks who else will I have ice cream with? And people think that's a random line, but earlier on in this very game it's established that Roxas connects friendship and eating ice cream together. In essence, what he's asking there is, if you don't exist anymore, who will be my friend? And then she fades away, but not into Sora, she fades away into Roxas because suddenly Roxas can wield 2 Keyblades. Explaining that whole thing in Kingdom Hearts 2 as well, and also why Sora can wield 2, because if Roxas can, Sora can. Then again, that also more or less low-key gets retconned and Birth by Sleep. This whole series, especially this game, I swear to God, if this game didn't exist, a lot of things didn't need to be retconned and wouldn't be anywhere near as confusing. And then the actual final boss against Riku, yeah, of course, fan service. is fairly trivial. He steals your Oblivion and you beat him up with Oathkeeper, and your strength stat is absolutely multiplied to the max and is fairly easy to win, really. But also a fun battle, so good going. It's a very bad game until the end. I'm sorry, I really don't like this game. There's a multiplayer in this game, allowing you to play all the missions in the entire game, even up to the boss fights, with a couple of friends. And the best part is usually you play as Roxas and you have an organization member, or at some times maybe even 2 organization members, with you as allies on your mission, just like you would have in Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2. Here though, you can choose from all the 13, 14 organization members, also including people like Riku, Donald, Goofy, King Mickey, and even Sora himself. Playing these boring missions in multiplayer is fun because of a couple of reasons, one of which is you can choose which missions you want to play, so you'll probably play a couple of missions and the other 90% of missions you'll never ever touch if you don't have to. The other thing is you'll have somebody to share your misery with if you're playing this in multiplayer. Again, I'm very sorry I didn't actually play through the entire game for this. I did way back in the past, but I didn't want to do this just for the footage, because I know this game is bad, and I usually don't do this. But this game is actually really bad, and I can tell you guys are watching this video and I'm just absolutely annihilating Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, which, I mean, people are complaining about Final Chapter Prologue 2.8, Birth by Sleep, a Fragmentary Passage 0.2, Kingdom Hearts 25 million, I don't know the titles at all anymore, but this title is up there as far as stupid title goes. Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 is how you pronounce this. How are you supposed to know how to fucking pronounce this? Anyway, it's a bad game. You're probably wondering what I think about Recoded, because people generally think that game is way worse than this. All in good time, my friends. All in good time.